The Bullet Journal Method by Ryder Carroll. Picture this: a preschool classroom on an ordinary Tuesday morning. Kids are giggling, building block towers, and there's that wonderful chaos that only a room full of 4-year-olds can create. Then, in a heartbeat, everything changes. A little boy playing with a wooden train suddenly can't catch his breath. His teachers notice immediately and rush over. His lips are turning blue. His eyelids are getting heavy. What happens next is a controlled panic. Someone's dialing 911 with shaking hands. The other kids are being quietly shepherded to the hallway. Then the EMTs burst through the door, their equipment clanging, voices urgent, firing questions like rapid gunfire. The boy's mother is right there. Her hands are trembling so violently she can barely hold her purse. Tears are pouring down her cheeks as one EMT begins chest compressions, her son's tiny body lurching with each push. And then, through her panic, she does something remarkable. She fumbles for a small, dog-eared notebook. With shaking fingers, she tears out the last few pages and thrusts them at the EMT who's questioning her. I can't, is all she can manage to say. The EMT grabs the papers, his eyes flying across them. His partner suddenly calls out, "I've got a pulse!" And the first EMT looks up at this sobbing mother with something like awe in his eyes. "Thank you," he tells her. "This is exactly what we need." Those crumpled pages held everything the doctors would need: medication doses, specialist contacts, allergy information, a detailed seizure log. That information, radioed ahead to the hospital, gave the emergency room doctors a crucial head start. It saved her son's life. The tool that held all this life-saving information? A bullet journal. Today, we're diving into something that's so much more than a planner. We're talking about a book that sold millions of copies worldwide and sparked an entire movement. This is The Bullet Journal Method by Ryder Carroll. Carroll is a digital product designer, but he didn't start out trying to create the next big productivity system. He was just a kid trying to survive his own brain. Growing up in the 1980s with attention deficit disorder, he felt like he was constantly playing catch-up. Overwhelmed, scattered, always 3 steps behind everyone else. So he started experimenting, cobbling together techniques in a simple paper notebook until he found something that finally clicked with how his mind actually worked. He built it for himself, never imagining it would become something millions of people would desperately need. In our current age of digital everything, where we're somehow more connected and more lost than ever, this refreshingly analog system became a lifeline. So here's what I'm promising you. By the time we're done here, you'll understand how a regular notebook and pen can become one of the most powerful tools in your life. It's about clearing out the mental clutter, zeroing in on what actually matters, and finally stopping the endless react and scramble cycle to start deliberately crafting the life you want. This isn't just about crossing things off lists. It's about figuring out who you are and who you're becoming. To really get why the bullet journal works, we need to understand the problem it's solving. And trust me, this problem is haunting all of us. Ever feel truly, bone-deep busy, like your life is a never-ending game of whack-a-mole? You're just constantly swatting at things. Emails pinging, texts buzzing, chores piling up, notifications screaming for attention. You've got apps scattered across your phone, sticky notes everywhere, and a mental to-do list that could stretch to the moon. You're spinning plates all day long, yet when your head hits the pillow, you have this gnawing feeling that you didn't actually accomplish anything that mattered. Sound familiar? You're in good company. Ryder Carroll makes the case that this constant overwhelm isn't because you're failing at life. It's because modern life is kind of insane. We're drowning in information. There's actually a study showing that just having your smartphone in the room, even powered off, measurably reduces your cognitive capacity. Just sitting there, it's draining your brain. This creates what psychologists call decision fatigue. Think about your day. The moment you wake up, the decisions start flooding in. What to wear, what to eat, which email to tackle first, what podcast to listen to. It's relentless. Even wildly successful people try to fight this. President Obama famously wore only gray or blue suits. Mark Zuckerberg has his uniform of gray t-shirts. They understood something crucial. Willpower is a limited resource. The more trivial decisions you burn through, the less mental juice you have for the decisions that actually shape your life. This is where most of us get trapped. We're drowning in trivial choices, our attention shredded into confetti, our energy completely depleted. We're busy as hell, but we're not actually being productive. Because here's the thing, Carroll hammers home. Being busy and being productive are completely different animals. Being busy is often just chaos wearing a nice suit. So how do we break free? How do we find some clarity? Carroll's first move is beautifully simple. He suggests creating a, quote, mental inventory. Just like cleaning out a disaster of a closet, you've got to pull everything out before you can figure out what to keep. Grab a blank piece of paper and make 3 columns. In the first column, dump everything you're currently working on, every project, task, and responsibility. In the second column, write everything you should be working on, all those things nagging at you, the "I'll get to it eventually" items. And in the third column, list everything you want to be working on, your dreams, passions, the things that light you up. Don't judge yourself. Just write. Get it all out of your head and onto the page. Now take a good look at that list. This is a snapshot of where your time and energy are actually going. The next step is the game changer. For every single item on that list, ask yourself 2 brutally honest questions. First, is this vital? Think rent money, taxes, your job, things with real consequences if they don't happen. Second, does this matter? To you, or to someone you deeply care about? If the answer to both questions is no, then that item is a distraction. It's consuming your precious resources while adding basically 0 value to your life. Cross it out. Be ruthless about it. Warren Buffett once told his pilot that everything that isn't a top priority should be on your avoid at all costs list. By doing this exercise, you're waking up. You're no longer sleepwalking through your commitments. You're creating space between the world's demands and your response. You're learning to filter signal from noise. What's left are the things that genuinely deserve your attention, your real responsibilities, and your actual goals. And this is where the bullet journal itself enters the picture. It's the tool we use to manage these essential things. But wait, why a notebook? In an era of amazing apps, why go old school with pen and paper? Carroll offers some compelling reasons. First, a notebook is a mental sanctuary. When you open it, you automatically unplug from the digital chaos. No notifications, no pop-ups, no temptation to just quickly check something. It's a quiet space where you can actually hear your own thoughts. Second, writing by hand is basically a superpower for your brain. Research shows that when we write things down manually, we engage with the information on a much deeper level than when we type. We remember it better, understand it more clearly, and make more creative connections. Ironically, it works because it's inefficient. You can't write as fast as you can type, so you're forced to listen more carefully and distill things into your own words. You're not just copying, you're processing. Finally, a notebook is infinitely flexible, Most apps or planners lock you into someone else's system, someone else's idea of how your life should be organized. But your life isn't a template. Your needs shift. The bullet journal is deliberately modular, like Lego blocks. You can combine the pieces however you want, creating a system that's perfectly tailored to you, right now. As your life evolves, your journal evolves right along with it. So we have our why, to live more intentionally and focused. We have our tool, a simple notebook. Now we need the how. We need the actual system. At the heart of the bullet journal is something Carroll calls rapid logging. This is the language your journal speaks. It's a way to capture thoughts quickly and efficiently, cutting away everything non-essential. Instead of writing rambling paragraphs, you use short, objective bullet points. Each one gets a simple symbol. You only need to know 3 to get started. A dot represents a task, something you need to do. Call the doctor. An open circle, hollow circle represents an event, an experience, like a meeting, a birthday, or an appointment. Hollow circle, dentist appointment at 3 p.m. And a dash represents a note. Any information you want to remember, an idea, a fact, an observation. That new coffee shop on Main Street is fantastic. That's it. Task, event, note, dot, circle, dash. This simple syntax transforms a jumbled mess of thoughts into a clear, organized list. But the real magic happens when these bullets evolve over time. A task isn't static. It has a life cycle. When you complete a task, you transform the dot into an X. Simple and satisfying. If a task becomes irrelevant, you just strike through it. Another responsibility released. Another bit of mental energy freed up. If you don't finish a task today and decide to move it to tomorrow, you change the dot into a right-facing arrow greater than. This is called migrating. And if you schedule a task for a future date, you turn the dot into a left-facing arrow less than. This might sound a bit technical, but in practice it's incredibly intuitive. It transforms your to-do list from a static, guilt-inducing monument of undone things into a dynamic, living system. These bullets are organized into what Carroll calls collections. A collection is simply a home for related thoughts. Think of it as a dedicated page for a specific topic. The 4 core collections are the foundation of your journal. First up is the daily log. This is your workhorse, where you'll spend most of your time. You simply write today's date at the top of a fresh page and start rapid logging your tasks, events, and notes as they happen throughout your day. It's designed to be a catch-all, a place to unload your mind in real time without overthinking where things should go. Some days might fill several pages. Other days might only take a few lines. That's the beauty. It adapts to your life's natural rhythm. Next is the monthly log. At the start of each month, you take a 2-page spread. On the left page, you create a calendar by simply listing numbers 1 through 31 down the side. This gives you a bird's-eye view of your month. On the right page, you create your task page. This is where you migrate unfinished tasks from last month and list your priorities for the month ahead. This monthly check-in is your chance to step back, reassess, and set your intentions. Then there's the future log. This lives at the very front of your notebook and captures any tasks or events falling outside the current month. Got a wedding in 6 months? A project due next semester? You log it in the future log, then forget about it for now, knowing it's safely captured and you'll be reminded when the time is right. Finally, there's the collection that holds everything together, the index. This lives on the very first few pages of your notebook. Every time you start a new collection, like your monthly log for October, or a custom collection for books to read, you flip to the index and add the topic and page number. This simple habit solves the biggest frustration with traditional notebooks. You no longer have to worry about where to put things or how to find them later. The index transforms your notebook into a fully searchable database of your own mind. So we have the daily log for day-to-day life, the monthly log for the bigger picture, the future log for what's coming, and the index to tie it all together. But there's one more element to the system, and it's hands down the most powerful. It's a process called migration. At the end of every month, when you're setting up your new monthly log, you go back and review every single unfinished task from the month that just ended. This is where the bullet journal stops being just an organizational tool and becomes a practice of mindfulness. For each open task, you have to make a conscious choice. The act of physically rewriting a task by hand into the new month forces you to pause and ask that crucial question again. Does this still matter? It takes effort to rewrite things. That little bit of friction is the system's secret weapon. It's an incentive for honesty. If a task isn't worth the few seconds it takes to rewrite it, it's probably not that important. It's a distraction. And you can let it go. This monthly migration is a built-in filter for your life. It prevents you from operating on autopilot, from blindly dragging forward responsibilities that have expired. It forces you to continually curate your commitments, ensuring you're only investing time and energy in things that truly align with your goals and values. This is the bridge between the system and the practice. The system gives you the how to organize your thoughts. The practice gives you the why. It helps you figure out why you're doing what you're doing in the first place. And this brings us to the true heart of Ryder Carroll's message. Getting organized feels great, but it's just scratching the surface. The real goal of the bullet journal method is to live an intentional life. What does that actually mean? An intentional life is one where your actions align with your beliefs. It's a life where you're making the choices before other people's choices make you. So many of us are living reactively. We bounce from one stimulus to the next, constantly putting out fires, responding to other people's demands. There's no breathing room between what happens to us and how we react. The practice of bullet journaling, especially the daily and monthly reflections, creates that breathing room. Every morning, you have your AM reflection. You sit down with your journal for just a few minutes, review your tasks, and plan your day. You're not just making a to-do list, you're setting priorities. You're deciding what matters most before the day starts yelling at you. Every evening, you have your PM reflection. You review what you logged, cross off what you completed, and migrate what you didn't. This isn't just about updating lists. It's a moment to learn. Why didn't I get to that task? Was it not actually a priority? What did I accomplish today that I can feel good about? These small, consistent moments of reflection are like having a conversation with yourself. Day by day, page by page, you're getting to know yourself better. You're becoming a witness to your own life. You start noticing patterns. You see what energizes you and what drains you. You see where your time is actually going versus where you think it's going. This self-awareness is the foundation for everything else. It allows you to set goals that are authentically yours, not ones you've absorbed from society or Instagram. And when it comes to achieving those goals, the bullet journal offers a brilliant framework Carroll calls sprints. Instead of being paralyzed by a massive, intimidating goal like write a book or learn Spanish, you break it down into small, self-contained projects or sprints that take a month or less to complete. So learn Spanish becomes Sprint 1, learn the 100 most common words. That's a clear, manageable project with a defined endpoint. When you complete it, you get a genuine sense of accomplishment, which fuels your motivation for the next sprint. It transforms a marathon into a series of satisfying, bite-sized wins. This is a profound shift. It moves the focus from the distant, often intimidating outcome to the immediate, actionable process. And it's in the process that we find growth, learning, and even joy. Which leads to the final and perhaps most important idea in the book, the pursuit of meaning over happiness. So many of us are chasing happiness. We think if we just achieve that next goal, land that promotion, buy that thing, take that vacation, then we'll be happy. But, as we all know from experience, it rarely works that way. The happiness we get from achievement usually fades pretty quickly. Carroll, drawing on centuries of philosophy, suggests we have it backward. Happiness isn't a goal to pursue, it's a byproduct. It's the feeling that naturally arises when our life has meaning. So the real question isn't how can I be happy? The real question is, what is meaningful to me? The bullet journal doesn't hand you the answer to that question. Nothing outside of you can. But what it does provide is a practice to uncover it for yourself. It's in the quiet moments of reflection, when you look back at your logs and see what you chose to spend your life's most precious resources on, your time and energy. It's in the process of migration, when you decide what's worth carrying forward into your future. It's in the goals you set, the sprints you run, and the lessons you learn along the way. Your journal becomes a living autobiography. It's the story of your choices, your actions, your evolution. It allows you to see the narrative of your life as it unfolds. And if you don't like the story it's telling, it gives you the tools and awareness to change it. Finally, a quick word about what you might see online. If you search for bullet journal, you'll find these incredibly gorgeous, artistic, and often intimidating creations. It's easy to think, I could never do that. I can't even draw a straight line. Carroll is crystal clear on this. The only thing that matters in a bullet journal is the content, not the presentation. Its value isn't in how it looks, but in how it makes you feel and how effective it is for you. Function over form. Always. If making it beautiful brings you joy and keeps you engaged, that's wonderful. But if it becomes another chore or source of pressure, you're missing the entire point. The correct way to bullet journal is the way that works for you. It's a tool, not a test. A practice, not a performance. It's a system designed to help you track the past so you can learn from it, order the present so you can live in it, and design the future so you can build one you're proud of. So what do we take away from all of this? At its core, the bullet journal method is a quiet rebellion. In a world constantly screaming for our attention, pulling us in 1,000 directions, it offers a simple, powerful way to reclaim our focus and agency. It's an invitation to step away from the noise, even for just a few minutes each day, and reconnect with ourselves. The most profound lesson for me is the shift from productivity as a frantic race to cram more in, to productivity as a calm, intentional practice of doing what matters. The system isn't about becoming a perfectly optimized machine. It's about becoming a more self-aware human being. It acknowledges that life is messy, unpredictable, and imperfect, and it gives you a framework flexible and forgiving enough to handle that reality. The beauty of this method is that it scales with your life. Right now, as a student, you might use it to track assignments, plan study sessions, and keep notes. But later, you might use it to plan a wedding, manage a business, track a fitness goal, or, like the mother in our opening story, manage the critical details of a child's health. It becomes whatever you need it to be, in whatever season of life you're in. If you're feeling inspired to start, but also a little overwhelmed, here's my advice. Don't try to do everything at once. Start small. The power of this method lies in small, consistent actions. So tonight, try this. First, just grab a notebook, literally any notebook, and a pen. Second, do the mental inventory we talked about. Spend 15 minutes getting everything out of your head and onto paper. Just that one act can bring incredible relief and clarity. And third, tomorrow morning, open to a fresh page, write down the date, and start your first daily log. Don't worry about perfection. Just capture your day as it happens. That's it. That's the first step on a journey that could genuinely change your life. That was a summary of the Bullet Journal Method by Ryder Carroll. We've covered the core ideas today, but here's the truth. A summary is like looking at a photograph of a beautiful landscape. It can show you the scenery, but it can't give you the feeling of the sun on your skin or the wind in your hair. The real magic of this book happens when you read it yourself. It's in those quiet moments when Carroll's simple wisdom clicks into place in a way that feels like it was written just for you. This summary is your map to help you decide if this is a journey worth taking. If anything we've talked about today has resonated with you, I encourage you to grab a copy. Reading it isn't just about learning a system. It's an experience that can fundamentally change how you navigate daily life. The link to the book is in the description below. Also, if you found this valuable, please take a moment to hit that subscribe button so you won't miss our next exploration into another life-changing book. Let's keep learning and growing together. Thank you for listening.